The following podcast is a B&E Network exclusive.
Hi, and welcome to episode 10. We made it.
Yeah, we seem to have
Two
a lot.
versus three.
The hardest part about this podcast is getting which episode number it is.
Well, this one's I got right for once. Episode 10. I'm Kyle. This is Cody.
Hello, everybody.
And Greg.
Yo.
All right. So, double digits.
Yeah.
We're officially running out of shit to talk about. This is it. Kill it here.
I hope it doesn't turn into that.
No, fuck no. Man, we're just interesting people. We've always got good things to say. Like,
We're not fucking interesting people.
man.
The internet has spoken.
No, man, I don't know. Fucking interesting shit. I went out this morning, just casually talk about my week. Today's Tuesday. So it's a short week going in, but fucking go down this morning, window smashed out of the van.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The work van?
Yeah, so I fucking messaged my boss. I was like, man, fucking window. Or I called him actually. I was like, the window smashed out. Nothing was stolen. Like, my wallet was sitting there. Fucking, we got a stereo behind
Your
us.
wallet was in there?
Yeah, man. Like, it was sitting like in the little console. My knapsack was sitting on the seat. I keep a pipe and weed in there, maybe. Work's not gonna listen to this. And I keep a bunch of shit in there. And fucking, they smashed the window out. Nothing was taken at all. I messaged my boss. He was more pissed off that I called him really early. And yeah, that was kind of shitty.
As if they didn't take anything. What?
No, and that's the thing, is like they didn't even take
That's
anything.
even worse.
Like the doors were all locked still. Nothing got taken. I don't know. I can only assume that they were loud maybe, and when they did it, they just took off afterwards.
This is the theory of mine, but our fucking neighbors were like crazy for like the last week, so I complained on them to the landlord. I wonder if they fucking smashed your windows. Because it seems like someone that didn't want to take anything.
Yeah. Maybe.
You
You listen to theirs downstairs, neighbors. Fuck you.
Man, that's shitty too, because I know the one guy. Like, I see him at the bar, and we work together. Not really, like, we don't work together, but I mean, like, we're in the same... we're on the same fucking, like, we work construction together. I mean, like, we're around. I give the old fucking, nod. So, I mean...
So I don't think that happened, but I'm saying it's a possibility.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, hopefully, like, can you guys bring the tone back up?
Well,
I like to set the bar real low.
That's shit. You guys didn't someone else?
Man, okay, yeah. So we live in like the ghetto. It's like rough. Like, there's gangsters and shit. We have to keep all the
Podcast
windows
makes us
closed.
no money. We can't move.
There's like a shootout going on regularly. But I mean, no. My brother's car got broken into. Our buddy's truck got broken into.
Stop. Why do you say shit like that? Why does he say shit like we live in the ghetto and there's shoot-ups regularly? Just for the clarity of the podcast, there's not.
No, but then I'm gonna follow up with
shootouts regularly.
I'm gonna follow up with my car was broken into, my brother's car was broken into, Whipwreck's truck was broken into, and that was
Luke's
all.
car got broken into.
Here?
Yeah.
See, the list goes on. But we live in a safe neighborhood, though. Nothing got stolen.
It's not safe, but like it's not that. Like, your shit's not safe, but you're probably safe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. If on a lighter note, I went and visited an old friend today and saw his baby. And it was pretty cute. And, I actually had a lot better time than I thought I would have hanging out with new parents. I thought I'd be, the young, single, rambunctious guy, just, hanging out awkwardly. But I had a really good time with both of them. They're actually in really good moods. Cameron's on paternity leave.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so they split it.
Yeah,
So she went off first and he went off second. I think that's actually a really good idea. I think a lot
it's
of
nice
parents
for
do
both
that.
of them to get to do that.
Yeah, and so
back in the day, though, I mean, I can only assume that this is what was going on. Was that men made more money in the workplace? Right?
Well, yeah.
So I mean, it wouldn't be worth it for. I mean, a guy could probably take paternity leave off. He would have got ridiculed and fired.
Well, you get paid for it though. Like paid paternity.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, you get on.
We live in Canada, so yeah, you get half your salary. I think.
Well, it's whatever you would get for unemployment or whatever. That's how it works.
Really? I thought it was half your salary.
I'm pretty sure you actually go on unemployment. I don't know what it turns out to wage-wise, but...
Yeah, whatever. It's enough for...
And you guys saying you guys played some Armada?
Yeah, I play this like tabletop Star Wars game called Star Wars Armada. It's really similar to Warhammer or stuff like that. You play where you measure it all out. And I've been trying to introduce it to a lot of friends because it was a fucking expensive game to buy. And I have not used it enough to get my dollars out of it.
Yeah.
So I showed it to him today, and I gave him a better team. I stacked him up. He kicked my ass. He had a real good time. He wants to play again. I think it was a successful day.
How much was it?
Well, the game itself was like $130, and I bought like a $60
I guess I get it. I was thinking more like if it was like a video game price, you probably got like some time out of it. I've got video games that I don't play at all.
I actually want to play it down at the comic shops and stuff.
And I would go definitely down and watch that shit. I mean...
Really? It's just be a spectator?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't go down and watch random people play, but I mean, if Cody was playing, I would go down and cheer him on and read comics.
And shit. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Fucking Cody and I went out back.
Were people playing it at King Con?
Well, so they separated that this year, where the room that they had them playing the games, they played them all at the comic shops this year, and that space was more vendors, which was nice because it seemed like more of a con vibe.
Cool.
Well, yeah, I feel like last year, man, easily 50% of it was just people there.
Yeah, it was just tables.
It was just tabletop. I saw a lot of that.
Which is fun.
It's cool to look at, too, especially if it's games like... I'd never seen Star Wars Armada before last year's King Con, and I was like, damn, these ships, this looks fun to play.
Yeah,
what's the other one?
The X-Wing game.
Oh, yeah.
And that game's really cool because the scale's different, where the X-Wings in the X-Wing game are about the size of the ships in the
I saw
Armada.
that one, yeah.
So the ships in the X-Wing game are like the fucking size of a ship.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like they're huge.
Fucking... and what's the other one there? The Hero Clicks? Because we keep seeing the Dr. Manhattan.
Well, Hero Clicks is, it's a different one. They've branded that out to quite a few different things, but I think it's mostly Marvel.
Well, I'm just referencing because Dr. Manhattan's down at the shop and he's like fucking 2 feet tall.
Yeah, and the rest of them are like only like an inch tall.
Oh, yeah? That's cool.
So yeah, anyways, I played some games with an old friend. He's got a new house now. It's actually really nice.
Like a really heartwarming story. Real, like I'm not
I helped him. I helped him move his oven.
That's
heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was really excited. Like, this might be frowned upon by a lot of our listeners. It's kind of controversial, but he still smokes weed in the house with the baby. Both of them do.
Oh.
They go down in the basement, and he literally has like.
Okay, like he goes down the basement. He doesn't bring the baby down the basement.
No. Like the baby's like upstairs in her bed or whatever.
We're gonna fucking finish this story like child service.
No, but I kind of want
to find him.
I didn't say any. I might have said his first name, but I didn't say his last name. But anyways, like, so he's got this literally a professional blowy. And I've never seen one of these before, where it's like a high tech blowy machine where I smoked a big bowl, blew it in, nothing came out.
Do you think everyone knows what a blowy is?
No, probably not.
Because I've heard other people say like, oh, there's a stupid name for them, like a spoof.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
I've never called it a spoof.
Yeah, man, I feel like because people just say blowy. You know, you don't tell me what a nug is. No one invented a nug. That's just what you just call a portion of weed. Like a blowy is like, you know, you're like, I need that thing. You mean like the blowy? Yeah, the blowy.
Well, anyways, what I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you think it's like being like a little like stoned or have a couple beers around your kids?
Not at all, man. The fucking
especially if you have the two parents there.
Man, like again, going back in the 50s.
Because my parents drank around me when I was a kid. You know.
The only difference is instead of drinking, you're smoking weed now, and it's like, fucking don't anything. Like we already have enough laws. It says like child neglection is against the law. You know, it doesn't matter whether or not you've been drinking or you're stoned. You can't neglect your children. So I mean, if you fucking have a drink or two and you're perfectly allowed to be around your children, fucking don't blow smoke in your child's face.
Don't be fucked up.
Yeah, like don't get fucked up. But I mean, if he goes down in the basement and smokes 2 bongs in the fucking.
But like, I'll be honest. There's video footage of me when I'm a 1-year-old baby, like the same age as like his daughter, and fucking my aunt is literally pouring beer into my mouth out of a bottle. Like I'm drinking beer as a 1-year-old. Like that is bad. It's messed up, but like I don't know. It didn't kill me.
My dad.
It's a weird kind of sick twisted joke.
Well, your dad didn't give you beer when you were a kid? Like
I wasn't 1. No, like I mean, I probably had my first sip of beer when I was like 5 or something. I remember.
Yeah, well, like I don't know.
But
one of my earliest memories, it's gotta be.
But I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I think
And you also don't smoke weed, so...
No, I don't. And if I did, I wouldn't want to take care of a fucking kid. I'd be
You don't think it would maybe help?
No,
Zone out,
no
watch
way,
some stupid
man.
shit on TV?
I can't do that shit.
See,
I don't smoke weed. I can't take care of myself if I do that shit.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's just, I'm a bad question. As far as having a beer, if you're like, if the husband's drinking and the mom has a drink or two, or vice versa, and, as long as someone's watching the kid, I don't think anybody's like, having 2 beers and suddenly like, I'm not going to ever feed him again. But, I don't know. It's like, I don't presume to, come up with some sort of rule for a parent. Parent make up their own decisions. They know themselves and their kid better than I ever would.
Some people definitely freak right out about, shit like that. Especially with pot.
Yeah, but those
a lot of people would freak out
about that shit
exactly,
anyway, right?
Yeah. It's a new world, man.
It is a new world, because, on the radio now, I keep hearing these commercials, and they're, telling me to go down to this address. No doctor's note required, or no doctor's consultation. You just go down there and see if you qualify for a fucking weed card.
Yeah, I heard Kingston's getting a medical clinic.
It's already open. That too.
It is?
Yeah, fucking 20 Montreal Street. I'm going down there and check it out.
They owe us money for advertising.
I don't know if it's a government thing or how it's working, but it keeps saying that it's, as a Canadian citizen or as an Ontario citizen, it's your right to know how to be able to get weed. And
properly,
we're allowed to go and through the proper channels.
Well, yeah, I nothing about that is shady to me. The shadier thing is just regular ass drug dealers. So that's, I don't know,
many shady fucking weed weed dealers.
No, it's not. I'm not saying all weed dealers are shady, but I'm just saying obviously someone advertising, go and find out the legal ways to do it is the safer way to go about that. It's not really shady for them to advertise.
Man, and now we had a Hershey's chocolate factory just to hop and skip from here, and that's a weed dispensary now. You need you need to have a medical license, a weed card to go and buy weed from there. But they're selling they got deals with Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson maybe.
I know Snoop Dogg definitely.
I know Snoop Dogg definitely, but I feel like I heard Willie Nelson, or maybe just Willie Nelson's got his own designer weeds coming out. But anyway. Fucking Snoop Dogg. There's been so many segues because I just want to talk about Trailer Park Boys.
Well, before you do, I wanted to. We'll do that as a whole topic in a second. But so on my way here, or right before I came here, I had to go and stop and get some toilet paper, as people need to do on occasion.
It happens.
Yeah. So I went over to like a pharmacy place close to me, and I'm at waiting to get cashed out, and they don't have cashiers there. They just have pharmacists. This place I went. They still cash you out.
Okay.
So I do that, and I'm just standing there, and pharmacist's so, see that new Batman vs. Superman movie? I was in the middle of paying with my debit card or whatever, and I was yeah? Well, what'd you think? I was well, this is really, I'm not sure. Okay, I guess it's, everyone's talking about it. Sure, I get it.
Don't you have a Batman wallet, though?
I do, but I don't think I even took it out. I probably just had my debit card in my pocket. But anyway, they bring it up, and the girl is well, I'm not into that kind of thing, but I can tell you are.
Well, again, you got
maybe I do, but I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt. But I have a button up on, so maybe Luke Skywalker's face is visible. But I was still why? Even if I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, this is a weird assumption.
She called you a nerd.
Yeah, she called me a nerd.
You look like a fucking nerd.
And then she that's fine. I get that. Whatever.
Perfect segue to Trailer Park Boys.
But no, it was really weird. So then I was all right, I'll bite. I didn't, here's my brief summary on my opinion. And she's yeah, I fell asleep. I don't get that kind of stuff. And I was well, this is really weird. Did you bring this up to just rag on me?
She went out of her way to basically say, fuck you nerd.
yeah. I was well, I didn't really love the movie either, but this is really weird. You just decide to
Did you defend
tell
it?
me. No, I was just confused. And the whole thing was weird. So I just left.
If your reaction was better, maybe they would have told you were on camera, and it would have been a whole thing. This was a hidden reveals of what you think about Donna Justice.
yeah. Ben Affleck's gonna watch all of them afterwards and cry.
Anyways, you fucking guys went and saw the movie. Tell me what you think, because I've heard from every other source in the world by now.
I don't know, Greg. Why don't you start? You say your opinion
With or without spoilers?
Let's go without. It's just come out.
Yeah.
Granted, like in a week, I would say we could talk about it.
This won't come out for a
This
week.
won't come out
Well,
until
yeah,
next
but
Monday.
Let's keep it non-spoilers, and if we want to say it, we'll keep the spoilers to the end and say spoiler, 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 or some shit, so that someone can.
Man, I read one review where it was the spoiler of the spoiler, and it was just I'm like because I read that before the movie, and I think that was the whole sentence, and I'm like, it's a fucking weird sentence. Now that I've seen the movie, I know exactly what the sentence is.
Why are you guarding the wrong side of your face?
So that he can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I was wondering why you're doing that, but you're right. Just to clarify, I haven't seen it, and Greg and Kyle have.
So anyway, I thought it was good, man. Hands down, like we were saying, Ben Affleck is better than I wanted him to be. Like, I thought he was going to be great just because Ben Affleck is awesome. But he was like, as an actor, as far as acting goes, not just likable people. Ben Affleck fucking stole that show. No, I take that back. Cody, my non-spoiler review of Batman, whatever, is Wonder Woman.
Batman, whatever.
Wonder Woman was the best part of that whole thing. She was perfect.
Well, we've all seen her in the trailer. Like, how long is she in it? I don't think that's much of a spoiler.
How long is she in it?
She's in it enough.
Half the movie?
As
probably in it more
Wonder
than Lois
Woman,
Lane.
or as
the characters in a lot of it.
Well, you see her early, but not in a costume.
Okay.
And then I would say
she's
that
pretty
in
sexy.
costume.
Oh my god!
The trailer, for sure. She's a good-looking woman.
I don't talk
a Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Anyways, continue with your review, Greg. You got sidetracked.
That's pretty much it. That's Greg's review.
You
Wonder
just
Woman.
liked Wonder Woman about it? That was enough?
No, like a lot of it. It was great. I thought it was really good. I don't want to ruin it, but I want to talk about it.
Well, why don't we say?
It's not hard
Why
to
don't
do.
we just say at the very end
You
of the
didn't say-
podcast
you haven't
we can come back to that, and we'll do the actual talk about it.
Okay, all right, all right.
Because
For
then
one
someone
is,
doesn't. We don't have to say it now.
do we know if the movie, because the movie got cut down for time, right?
Well, there's supposed to be like a 3.5 hour long director's cut version.
Okay, because I guess like my biggest thing was I think that a lot of people were saying the movie was too long, right?
Yeah.
And that some of the shit was drawn out. I actually think that if it was longer, the pacing would have been better, because like I don't think that you should have taken anything out. I think you could have added things, because like a lot of the segues it would be like kind of like a normal scene and a really high octane scene where it was just if the previous scene was longer, or if there was more of a beginning to the next scene, it would have done better.
I hear you. It's disjointed is the word I would use.
Yeah,
pacing is weird and abrupt, but also they put a ton of scenes in that fucking movie that don't need to be in it at all. Like the whole middle act of that could just be trimmed right out entirely. Like nothing happens, and it's just they show two. I don't want to. I'll save it for the end. We'll just talk. We'll come back to it right before we go.
Yeah, we should have done this at the beginning. You're right.
Yeah.
We should have done it at the end.
All right.
Because I do have a topic. I can just bring it right back up at the end.
Speaking of Batman versus Superman, the B&E network has been doing March Madmen 2016 on their website. And it's a pretty fun idea.
I was like getting tense over here, like watching the polls for that, being like, "What is it? The Blob's losing."
I'm pushing for the Blob, and he's losing. I think he lost already.
Well, what it is instead of doing all the brackets for the basketball teams that they do for March Madness, is they're filling them in with horror villains.
Yeah.
And basically saying who's the ultimate horror villain. And I'm going through all like their website, and it's all like Freddy Krueger versus the Blob and all this stuff. I'm like, these seem like 2 vs. 3 episode titles.
Yeah, except for we don't actually ever do that.
We have never done that.
That is just a gimmick.
Yeah, it's a total gimmick. It's a good way to get clicks on the internet, to be honest. But I thought for fun, I wanted to put a few verses by you guys. They're not really related, but they're all pretty fun, and they're relative to your interests.
Before we get into it, I do want to say, if it's still going on when you hear this, push for the Blob. The Blob should win.
Yeah, definitely. You should all follow. Doesn't necessarily know their Twitter handle.
At B&E Pod.
At B&E Pod, and vote, because it's pretty fun to see the outcome of some of these. All right, so I'm gonna hit you with the first one because we were just talking about it. Batman versus Superman. Could be badassness. Who could win in a fight? Just who is it for you guys?
This is like a philosophical question, but it'll be Batman.
It's Batman.
Yeah, both explain why.
But Batman is cooler. Everybody knows it. Superman's a fucking Boy Scout and boring as shit. Superman... I'll get it. Jesus. Alright. Superman obviously could kick his ass because he's like all-powerful if he wanted to. But he doesn't ever want to because he's a pussy. Batman would do exactly what he does in The Dark Knight Returns, where he'd prep and think about it and have his whole big plan, and that's when he would attack. Just like I love that comic, Dark Knight Returns. That's the way it would happen.
Why isn't Superman better than Batman, Greg?
Because like people are afraid of Superman. He's a terrifying image. Like that's like what Lex Luthor's pushing for. Is you should be afraid of Superman. Superman, in order to not be a threat, has to maintain like public, like he has to keep public opinion of him in his favor, right? So he's always going to have to do what the public thinks is right. And if he starts killing people or like taking out people like that, he's now a threat. He always has to do what's right, always, like no matter what, because the second he does one wrong thing, he's now a threat to the world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's too much.
All right.
And just going back around, Batman, his only superpower is like planning for the future.
yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, if he pulled out
which they definitely don't get right in this movie, but whatever. I also would like to say one last thing. I'm not Donald Trump, but people are better than aliens.
Okay, so it's official. 2 vs. 3 has decided that Batman is better than Superman.
You don't have an opinion on it?
I agree with Batman. I figure if you guys tie, I'll be the deciding vote.
All right.
But cool. I definitely agree with Batman over Superman. It's a more fun story to read. Like something about reading a story about an invulnerable guy and there's only one way to beat him. But
it's also a huge thing about like trust, right? Superman isn't out trying to outsmart or outscandal or steal from you or be like conniving. And so his first thought or reaction isn't that people are doing that to him.
His first thought is that I'll just beat up whoever I want. I don't have to think too much about stuff.
Yeah, he's not really thinking that Batman's going to spend 2 years trying to find kryptonite.
Yeah, kicking your ass.
It's like, oh, Batman hasn't tried to fight me for 2 years. I can only assume that
he's not interested.
And that's when Batman's like, fucked up, brah.
All right, the next one. James Bond versus Indiana Jones. Kyle, go.
Oh. All right.
Well, could we get more of a scenario setting? Like, this is like...
No, because it's not necessarily a fight. It's just who you pick.
Oh, yeah.
If you could go the rest of your life with only one of them.
Yeah, and we got to justify it. All right.
Well, man, because, like, honestly, then I would have picked Superman from before.
Well, I told you, it's not necessarily a fight.
Justification. It's
I like Superman more than Batman. But anyway, Batman would win that fight. All right, we'll move forward.
All right. In a fight, James Bond's going to
kick
Indiana Jones'
in a fight, yeah.
And I, as a franchise, I prefer James Bond.
Yeah.
In an individual movie, I like Indiana Jones. Like, those, Raiders of the Lost Ark is the better of all those movies. But I would say...
Who would you rather have a drink with?
Indiana Jones.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd rather have a drink with James Bond.
He's just gonna fuck whatever lady you're with.
And the lady he's with.
Yeah,
man, it'd be a really short drink.
And he's an angry, brooding...
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, depends on the James Bond, I guess. Maybe, I don't know, you get the Sean Connery slapping women, you don't want to hang out with him.
So you're leaning towards
I'm gonna pick James Bond.
Alright, what about you, Greg?
Just because
No, I like Indy. Because also in this scenario, hopefully I'm going back in time. Not that he's coming to my time. That'd be cool.
Wait, you want to go back to World War II?
If I'm hanging out with Indy, I do.
Well, you like the idea of Indy in that time. That's why that character makes it.
Yeah. That's my answer.
Let's make that the music in between.
In a fight, I think James Bond, but
I'll split this decision. A little drum roll. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. But
I grew up loving James Bond, but only the Pierce Brosnan Bonds. And watching them as an adult, they're fucking horrible movies.
Hey, Kyle.
And I don't really have it.
You grew up liking the only bad James Bond.
I know, but that's because I was a fucking kid.
Was anyone, like, speaking of the Pierce Brosnan, I was really caught up in wanting to know more about 006 in GoldenEye or whatever. Like, you can't assume that he was always a bad guy.
Well, no, there's a whole story there, but that's supposed to be for your imagination. But yeah, I pick Indy because fuck 006. Like, what's his face? Sean Bean dies in it. Sean Bean dies in every single thing he's in. He's just fucked from the get-go.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for GoldenEye? Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I think we have at least a 15-year grace period.
I thought he meant, like, spoilers for every Sean Bean movie.
yeah, that also works.
But yeah, I don't know. Indy, my mom bought me a whip and a fucking leather jacket when I was a kid. I wanted to do that.
That's cool.
Man, I had the hat. I never had the whip.
My mom bought me multiple guns and a suit for a funeral, so I mean, I was pretty much James Bond too.
Alright, guys. This next one's a little different. Charizard versus Drogon. Greg, take the lead.
Who the fuck is Drogon?
Khaleesi's dragon. Like Daenerys' dragon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Alright.
Well, I mean, fucking Charizard, odds are that I can control him more. Unless we traded him.
Yeah, Drogon doesn't seem very
Ash couldn't control
tamed.
Charizard. He was an angry, took him forever to get Charizard under
In the
control.
show?
Yeah.
No, but in the game, though, fucking Charizard did what I wanted.
Well, yeah, if you had enough badges.
That's true.
That's what I mean, yeah. Fucking either Khaleesi doesn't have enough badges, or...
That's it. It's true. That's got to be a meme.
She skipped a couple of gyms.
Yeah, Daenerys skipped a few gyms.
She's at the very end, and they're like, you
over-leveled.
don't have enough badges to get in.
You didn't level up your Pikachu. You screwed up.
This whole time, Daenerys is just on the road to Viridian City.
Yeah.
No, like,
I was getting sidetracked.
Yeah, like, fuck. Like, I feel like Team Rocket even got her.
But, yeah, I don't know. Who do you think is the cooler dragon?
It's Charizard.
The dragon that listens to me. Yeah, Charizard.
Charizard wins.
Charizard
Way
wins?
cooler.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
Image wise, like the little fucking image of Charizard on my Game Boy looked nowhere near as good as some
I
of the shots.
feel
in Game
like
of Thrones.
by the end of Game of Thrones, though, those answers might change.
Well,
Why?
yeah,
No.
Because Drogon, I feel like, is going to be a big player now that he's a big dragon.
I don't give a shit. Charizard. Still Charizard.
You're so devoted to that child.
Yeah, I love
Like
Pokemon. Though. That's on. Obviously, I was gonna.
That is on record.
yeah, sure.
All right, I got. Oh well, yeah, I go with Charizard too. This next one's kind of fun. The Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood from the
Blondie,
from the movies,
the
versus Mad Max.
Ooh, that's a good one. Both pretty silent protagonists, just doing cool badass
Just tough
stuff.
guys,
And that's a
yeah.
good. I like that one a lot.
I'm gonna take. There's one in between his legs.
Oh yes, he doesn't want to reach for that later.
I honestly feel like Mad Max, Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, not the new one.
I like Tom Hardy a lot, but Mad Max to me is still Mel. Fucking Mel.
So I'm gonna. I disagree. Blondie, Man with No Name.
Is that his nickname? I didn't know that.
In The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it is.
Oh, okay.
I love those movies. I think they're great. Clint Eastwood's a great cowboy, but most cowboys, I feel like would get taken out by.
Does Mad Max shoot a lot of guns? You guys know, maybe the podcast doesn't. I'm not a big fan of that movie. I fell asleep halfway through it.
Really? Like the new one?
The new one. I didn't really like it.
Oh man, I love that movie. He's not he's definitely not the dead shot that Clint Eastwood is.
Yeah.
Literally, there's a scene where he takes a couple shots and misses a guy, and Furiosa has to take the gun from him and make the shot or whatever.
I imagine a scenario where they're both riddled with bullets and they're both gonna die, and it's who died first is the loser. And in that scenario, I just feel like Mel Gibson would outlast Clint Eastwood and who could bleed out slower.
Oh, that I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. Yeah, the will to survive, Mad Max has that a little bit.
Yeah,
more
if
probably.
they're both we both have fatal wounds, or not even that, we're both just wounded, and it's they have to crawl to a fucking vehicle or something like that, crawl to the next gun. Just in that scenario, fucking.
So what have you guys settled on?
I'm taking Man with No Name.
But those again, that's weird because.
All right, well, I'll
movies are
cast
better.
my vote on The Man with No Name purely on I think the podcast knows by now. I don't like action movies.
Yeah, well, no, but
I'm not attached to Mad
He just
Max.
said he hasn't seen any of the Mad Maxes, and then the one he watched, he fell asleep through. I veto your
Well,
vote.
whatever. Well, you can
That's-
still. It's not changing your idea. Like, I mean, he didn't. You don't have to go around the rest of your life
So
like
well-
After this podcast, I'm like not allowed to just enjoy
Yeah.
Mad Max anymore.
Yeah.
All opinions decided in this podcast are all of our opinions from now on.
Okay, this next one's pretty funny. And this next one's actually not necessarily. Don't look at it, Kyle. It's more of a fight thing. Just because one of them's more likable than the other, quite
Is
obviously.
it Anderson Silva versus Gandalf?
No.
That's classic.
It's Negan from The Walking Dead
Oh yeah.
versus Billy Bob Thornton.
The real person. Really, Billy Bob.
Man, have you heard Billy Bob get angry in real life?
Oh man,
He's
he's
a scary
That guy,
looking
like,
motherfucker.
They really similar talking. Like, I can't go more than 2 minutes without telling someone to like fuck or this or that. Or, you know, it's good, but I can even see him.
Negan's pretty buff though.
Dude, I can even
And
see
Billy Bob's skinny.
No, I know. I could see fucking Billy Bob whipping out like a switchblade from his boot. You know, like getting some like throat jugular slices.
Jagular.
Jugular. You said jugular.
What about you, Kyle? Are you much of a Billy Bob fan?
Oh man, I'm not really a fan either, but like I mean, I like Billy Bob in movies. He's super enjoyable.
Sling blade.
Wait, no.
He was doing.
Just angry.
I want some mustard on my French fry taters.
No, I guess I'm gonna in a fight. Negan's gonna beat it.
Yeah,
Billy Bob's getting old now. Negan was fairly
Still-
fresh faced.
Yeah, and he's a pretty big guy.
and also they just cast Jeffrey Dean, J.D. Morgan as Negan. I don't even know that they've showed him yet.
I don't
But-
know either.
But anyway, Jeffrey Dean Morgan would tune Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, I don't know
and
about this
that
show.
way, yeah. And also the character Negan could probably take a couple.
I know
throat
I did say
slashes.
fights, but I just have to pick Billy Bob.
But no, it'd be close. Negan would know he was in a fight with Billy Bob.
Billy Bob would take an ass whooping.
Billy Bob. This based
All
on
right,
the
this
name he
is
deserves.
this is the last one I have for you guys, and it's kind of weird because the first one's Yoda. I was like, who could fuck with those Jedi mind tricks and all that shit? I'm going to throw at you. Yoda versus Doctor Strange.
That's a weird one.
Greg, go.
Well, Doctor Strange is definitely not like weak-minded, right? So right there, and
The
then-
mind trick's not gonna.
yeah, the mind tricks and shit aren't gonna work. So I mean, right there and then though, I feel like a lot of his spells and shit. I don't know how that. No, I would feel like the magic thing.
Force versus magic.
No, I feel like that they cancel each other out because even in, I know this maybe not count for you guys, but in Clone Wars, like the show, and in Rebels, they really hinted at this, like, you know, other parts of the universe treating the Force as magic and even using the Force, but it requires like almost not quite a spell or something like that, but they have to go through a ritual, which to me is like they're calling it magic, but in that universe, they're
Yeah, it's like their
Force.
magic. I get
So
it.
I mean, I'll say that they cancel each other out, which boils down to like melee or hand to hand combat. In which case, Yoda's fucking that little mustache. He's shaving that shit off of Doctor Strange.
He's gonna lightsaber him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Yoda. Though I don't think Yoda's much of a fighter. I didn't like him in the. I don't like the prequels version of Yoda where he's like
Flipping.
flipping around and
Bruce Lee.
suddenly. Yeah,
I kind
like-
of almost interpreted that as in like that took a lot out of him.
well, yeah, I agree, but I still didn't like.
Like it was no small feat for him to duel. Fucking
It just
Sidious.
doesn't make sense that he would be able to do that, but then hobble away.
Also, just in general, fuck Doctor Strange. Don't really like him as a character that much, so
Oh, I
I'm
think
going
it's pretty
Yoda.
cool.
Nah, I don't. I mean,
See, I was thinking about. I was stuck between Doctor Strange and Immortal Iron Fist. Do you think?
picking.
See, no, that would've been a good
You think
one.
Immortal Iron Fist could have beat Yoda?
No, no. You would have just force dropped some shit on him, and like
I'm
or
like trying to
force-
think now, like who
Look
would
him in
be
his
like a
face.
good, like
Who can
man,
beat Yoda?
Xavier versus Yoda.
Oh,
they're
so
just
like
both
mind
sitting.
power,
They're just sitting in front of a chessboard, just fucking.
Man, that would probably be how it came down to.
Oh no, the better question is, who wins in a chess match, an actual chess match between Yoda and Xavier? So they both just they can both
But
see into each other's minds and perhaps trick the other one and just and do
That would be
an
the
actual
most
chess
boring
match.
fight to ever watch.
Well, no, it's a chess match.
Xavier,
you hate chess?
Fucking like mind tricks you into making you think you've already played the game of chess.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Xavier's reading your mind to
Yeah,
predict what
just-
you're gonna
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyways, that's the 2 versus 3 picks.
do.
But you should actually go to bmoviesandebooks.com and check out the March Madmen contest. It's not necessarily a contest, but it's a fun poll.
By the time this posts, it'll be
And-
after March.
Yeah, Kyle's saying vote for the blob.
Check out the results.
Yeah, I guess they're not even going to be able to vote by the time this comes out.
this will be over.
I'm screwing up this podcast. We were recording it way earlier than we'd like to.
Well, yeah, it was. Well, it still would have been over if we'd recorded later.
That's true.
We
keep
Whatever,
should have
it's
lasted.
fun.
It's fun.
Look
Check
back
out
on
another
it.
awesome content.
We look back
yeah.
and we laugh.
Anyways, we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be back in a second.
Hey, this is Craig Wade.
And Brian Allen Delaney from B Movies and Ebooks, a podcast about cult and horror films and genre fiction.
You can catch new episodes on iTunes and Stitcher every Wednesday, or you can watch us live on blab.im Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Central.
B Movies and Ebooks. We bleed fiction.
And we're back. So,
I was going to try to say that I was balls deep in something, but...
you're just balls deep in fucking.
I still said it,
everything,
though.
man. Yeah, you got to say it for once. Now it's a tradition, I guess. Alright, so you guys have been talking about it, and I haven't watched
It kind
it.
of disappoints me, actually, that you haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah, I know. I'm
But
sorry.
new season of Trailer Park Boys came out yesterday, and it was greasy. It was good. I waited for a buddy to come over for like an hour and a half, waiting to watch it, and I must have called him so many fucking names in that hour and a half waiting for him to come over. But he came over, we watched about 5 or 6 episodes, and I want to say that it's hard to say that it's the best season, because there's some fucking good ones, man. But this new season's great. Like, I don't know if there's going to be any spoilers for this.
No,
You haven't even said what the show is.
Trailer Park Boys.
Oh,
It's fucking
did you?
Trailer Park Boys. It's all on Netflix right now. If you guys don't know what Trailer Park Boys is, you're in for a treat.
I wonder if American Netflix has it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, if you
It's-
haven't, give it a try from episode 1, season 1.
It's good.
It started as a very underground, like DIY mockumentary about a bunch of East Coast Canadians who drink beer and smoke pot, and
In the first season,
they live
coke
off
and
of
shit.
being criminals, and they go to jail at the end of every season. But it's really fun to watch how it developed as a really like rough cut show. They really put it together. Like one of the main characters was the sound man when they started,
Yup.
and just shit like that. And now it's on season 10.
Yeah. They took a couple of breaks, because like the show, I guess, ended a couple of times. They've had 2 or 3 movies, and now they have like
And now they've been bought by
7 or
Netflix
8
or whatever.
live specials. But this new
And
season...
movies, they've had like 3, 4 movies.
Yeah.
A lot of Netflix specials for
Yeah.
sure.
But, oh man. Fucking J-Rock, Jonathan Torres.
He's a really good comedian.
Yeah.
The fact where on the credits now he's under special guest as Jonathan
I
Torres.
saw that. And I was wondering if that's because he's not going to be in the whole
Well,
thing.
what
or-
show does he do now?
Does he have another show now? I don't know.
He had like a talk show type thing for
Yeah.
a while, I think.
On like Comedy
Like,
Network or
yeah,
something?
but it was like a very, like that would be a Canadian deep dive for the American listeners, I imagine.
Well, the
that's
silly
not
one,
something
yeah,
they see.
speaking of that, is... You remember the Joe Schmo show?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like a comedy show? It was like a...
It was,
You look like...
it was like The Bachelor, but they made fun of...
Like every...
Like, they were making fun of shows like The Bachelor.
There was only one person, like it was a game show, and everyone like lived in a house, and they all, we all got voted in or whatever. But only one person was actually a contestant. Everyone else was actors.
everyone was actors. That was like you've listened to some Smodcast stuff. You know Ralph Garman. He does the what the fuck is it? He hosts it with Kevin Smith, and I can't think of what the hell the name of the show is off the top of my head.
Is
One
it
of those
public
podcasts.
one?
It's he's a radio host, but anyway, he was the host of that show.
Well, yeah. Anyway, in the second season of that, it's like they get couples, but fucking Jonathan Torres is one of the guys living in this house. But Trailer Park Boys had been on for a couple of years, but the idea being is that like
the guy on the show.
the guy on the show, he's like a famous person in Canada, is playing like a contestant on like nobody recognizes that he's a famous.
Yeah,
fucking
but
guy.
back in the
It's like-
day, it wasn't that popular, man. Even for Canadians, like it started on IFC, the Independent Film Channel.
No,
Yeah,
it was
it's on
on
Showtime,
Showtime. No, Showcase.
Showcase. So, yeah, Showcase.
Showcase.
Oh yes, it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which also had IFC.
Yeah.
It did play on
Yeah.
IFC though.
Like,
Yeah. Well, those
Showcase.
are related, I think. Aren't they all owned by HBO maybe in some large capacity?
Oh, I don't know. I won't say that.
I think they might be.
I don't know.
I'd have to look it up.
But yeah. Anyways, this new season has been funny. I will argue that it won't even come close as one of the best.
No, but we thought that about the last season, and then once it becomes part of your repertoire, we can repeat
They
shit.
definitely grow on you, man.
It's-
And the one I realized was the last season, where the first time I was like, that was fucking weird.
It was heavy.
I don't know what I just watched. And then the second watch, it got funnier. And the third watch, it got more hilarious. And that show has so much rewatch value. It's
Man,
great.
You catch a lot of jokes. And
Even for
weird
10
things you
seasons,
didn't know.
man, you'll rewatch. I've rewatched every episode probably 4 times.
I used to
at
watch
least.
the first 4 or 5 seasons when it was on, like before it got popular, I guess, like in the sense that it got picked up by Netflix and became worldwide. I watched the reruns on that every day. We played twice a day, and I'd watch it even though I'd seen them all like 3 times each. Me and my dad would watch it and still laugh our ass off. Like watch it on a lunch break or whatever, and laugh and laugh and laugh.
The Showcase intro music and the theme song for the Trailer Park Boys, 2 of the greatest sound bites, or like the theme song for Trailer Park Boys is
Yeah. Kyle's been on point. Human karaoke machine.
yeah, it's good. I don't want to spoil it, but it's great. J-Rock
It's almost as good as the 2 versus 3 theme song.
J-Rock is doing like a whole Hispanic accent thing.
Well, what's funny, he's a white guy who normally talks like a black guy. And now he's talking like a Spanish guy, and people are giving him shit. Being, well, like, why aren't you talking like a black guy anymore?
Played out, man.
And Ricky's got the 5-hour de-energy drinks. They're like making little weed shot drinks.
5-hour de-energy.
So it just makes you tired for 5 hours.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
That would sell more. Sleeping pills are more popular than 5-hour energy, probably.
Leahy's rocking a breathalyzer, like a little mini breathalyzer, so that he could ride the constant golden drunk. Like he doesn't want to get too drunk or too sober.
Yeah, he's constantly on the threshold, which I think is brilliant.
That's kind of
Yeah, the
that's
threshold
what
is what he's calling it, and it's like
Wow,
it's like a 1.12.
All right, we gotta get one of these. There has to be a test. We get one.
How long
we
can
do
we
it.
ride the
Can
threshold?
we get the perfect 2 versus 3 episode on the threshold?
Well, man, I was thinking it would be a great party thing to have around. Is a breathalyzer.
They have them here at bars.
They're not real.
No, those
$2.
suck, right? Yeah, you pay the $2
Yeah.
and you can tell if you're. But they don't work. You're supposed to change like the water in them or something a bunch. Like
They're
there's
not.
some sort of
They
change
don't
thing.
work at
Yeah.
all.
Because I've been to a bar where I've blown it before, and it's like it's the alcohol level. When you look it up, I'd be dead. It's like, oh, you blew a 0.3. It's like, yeah, all right, that's way too much alcohol.
I mean,
fucked up.
I've seen you put it back.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But I mean, I was still probably only a few beers in. I was fine at the bar. Like, I think walking around like that's over 3 times the legal limit
All right, well,
for driving a car. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been that drunk, but not walking around having a good time at a bar, probably.
Well, speaking of new shit we've been watching, I've finally watched Deadpool.
Oh, the movie?
Yes. And I fell asleep.
you're such a fool.
You
Did you at least rewatch
fell
it?
asleep.
Hey, you've only seen it once?
No, I didn't rewatch it.
you ever read it?
I fell asleep for about 30 minutes in the middle. So I saw most of the beginning and most of the ending, but good middle, I was right out. Basically, when he was getting transformed, I just had like when I was opening my eyes, I have short glimpses of that.
All right, man.
One of my
I didn't hate it,
like
Well, yeah, I get it. I've fallen asleep in
and I
movies
don't.
before.
And I think the podcast knows by now. I do not fucking like superhero movies, and I didn't hate it. It was really jokey, but I expected that, and some of the jokes were actually really funny. I was sitting beside my mom while I watched it, and she was fucking laughing her ass off. So
It's
the
a
fact
funny
that
movie.
the fact that
It's
she
really-
was having such a good time kind of improved my mood.
Man, I really thought if any movie that you were going to see that was superhero based, that was going to be the one that you'd like.
I was really tired though.
I get that. That's on you though. You screwed up. You missed a bad movie.
Well, it's
or a
just
good
my
movie.
parents have this wicked theater room in their house, and we have these big lazy boys and this massive 60-inch TV, and it's pitch black, and we all get blankets, and I cuddle up, and halfway through the movie, I'm just conked out. But I fall asleep in the theater all the time too, man.
I get that. I sometimes go to a movie and I get real close, if not Batman vs Superman. My eyes were heavy. My head was like, I was like, oh, like had to pick myself up.
It does depend on how much I care about the movie, though. Like, I went to go see Django in the theaters. I didn't fall asleep during that, and that's a fucking long movie.
I don't typically fall asleep just because 3 hours have passed. That's not like
it's boring.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's.
But
the thing.
even
if I sit still too long, like I fall asleep during movies. Like that's.
I got bored, and I just like. Oh,
See, I don't have that problem. I don't
No,
fall asleep every few hours just because I'm not doing something.
Yeah.
Like, who has that?
Yeah, but you don't smoke weed, Kyle.
Yeah, you don't
well,
get
That's
it.
a big thing, man. If you're all stoned in the dark with a blanket and it's all...
I understand that. Yeah, I get that, but that's on you. You missed a good movie. You gotta get your shit together.
I didn't think it was that good, man. I thought it was super gimmicky.
Have you ever read a Deadpool comic?
No.
Then, yeah, alright.
They nailed it.
Never mind.
That movie then nailed it.
The movie.
They nailed that movie. It was perfect.
My
for a
favorite
Deadpool
scene
movie.
is when he's fighting Colossus and he just keeps breaking all.
I did laugh
man.
out loud during that.
I thought that was great.
Everyone.
No,
fears
but then, like,
that
the
opening credits
one
was
by
clever
T-Rex.
as
Like the
fuck.
follow up when
Yeah.
he's sitting in the apartment with
Like,
his
produced by a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg.
Written
what were you
by
saying?
the real
Just-
heroes here.
like the follow up when he cuts his arm off and he's sitting in the room there with the blind lady, and he's just like, I want to leave. I bet it's gonna look huge in his little hand.
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
No, the best line in that whole thing is when he leaves and he looks at the black woman, the blind woman, and he's just like, I left a bunch of coke and
The cure for blindness.
Cure for blindness?
Somewhere in
yeah,
there.
that was like the best fucking line of that whole movie.
Yeah.
There's like this old black blind woman and he's got her making like he pays all
IKEA
the rent
furniture.
as long as she builds all this IKEA furniture.
There you go.
Yeah, I definitely slept through all
Oh
of
man,
that.
it's just her fucking like putting IKEA furniture together poorly, and it's hilarious because she's just blind and old.
Yeah.
On the topic of movies, I do have another subject I thought could be fun. What's your guys' favorite movie monologue?
Favorite movie monologue?
Yeah, there's a lot out there, but I'm sure some stand out in your mind.
The first one that comes to mind is the joke in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, just that whole learning. It.
Yeah, him cutting him learning it as well as
That's
telling
a
it,
fucking
and
genius
him
monologue.
living it.
Well, it's not. Is that necessarily a monologue? Because that was the cut and edited scene.
I would still
But when
talking.
when he auditioned for that, you probably said it all as one.
Yeah, and I honestly think of it because a friend of ours did it as a monologue in drama class when I was like in high school, like that whole joke.
But
So that's probably why it came to mind. But
I would disagree though that wouldn't be a monologue because saying the final version of that is a monologue. But the way they cut it, with him being rough at it at the beginning and then him slightly getting better and then better and better. That's what's beyond that, you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. It's a little jazzed up for a monologue, but I still think
That story itself.
it's mostly him talking. I guess he's getting a little instruction cut off in between. You know, but it's still that's what I think.
honestly can't think of what you guys are talking about. I know you said Reservoir Dogs, did you?
Yeah, like when he's learning how to be an undercover cop and the guy's teaching him the joke and being good at
Even
lying.
as I said Reservoir Dogs the whole time, I'm thinking of fucking
Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
Well, that's got some good monologues too. What do you think, Greg?
I honestly can't think of it like any really good dialogues. Like maybe it's like out of a Kevin Smith movie.
Like Clerks 1 or something?
Yeah, but like offhand, I can't really think of any really good monologues. It's terrible.
Well, what's funny is another one of mine is a Quentin Tarantino written piece, but the beginning of True Romance, when the girl's out on the balcony, and he comes out and she tells him that she's a stripper or a hooker, and he's like, "Well, that's all right." She's like, "But I'll love you for the rest of my life," and like the nice xylophone music kicks in.
Is that a monologue though?
It's very short, but I think it's one of my favorite dialogue pieces of all time.
Like, how long does it have to be for it to be a monologue?
I don't know, but her short little rant that she does at the end of that when she's crying, she's like, I am a hooker, but like you're the one, and like I'll be with you for the rest of your life. And the title of the movie is True Romance, and they banged it right there.
Yeah, I like that part. I like that movie.
And the
a lot.
music too. The music really suited that scene. Hans
There's great
Zimmerman is a
music, yeah,
genius.
yeah. He's
Maybe like in The Watchmen. Like I can't really think of.
I got one that I know you'll like. Silent Bob speaking in Chasing Amy.
Mm-hmm.
The explanation of
That
Chasing
man.
Amy.
Okay,
That's a really good one.
I broke up with a girl once. Like,
After watching that?
Claire and I fucking broke up after that. It was like, I watched that movie and it was like this huge speech and I was like, fuck man, this is just not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of depressing, but maybe it was a good thing.
Yeah. They got me.
Well,
Yeah.
was that the first time Silent Bob ever spoke?
No.
No,
What's
I
the
think he
first
said a
movie?
few words in all of them, kind of. Like, I'm trying to think. So Clerks is the first one. I can't think of
What does he say in Clerks?
anything.
I think
else
talks
there.
in Clerks.
I know there's another one where he just says, "I got nothing." Like, speak up, you fat fuck. It's time for you to say. And then he's like, "I got nothing." I think that's Clerks 2, maybe.
Dogma. No ticky.
Yeah.
So is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck off the train.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other times he speaks, but I don't know. The Chasing Amy one's always the one that I think of.
You can't think of anything?
Yeah. Shit.
Oh,
what did you-
alright.
Well, I don't know. You're just a big movie buff, I thought.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think it's just because I'm on the spot, maybe. Like, I'm going to wake up tonight in cold sweat and just, like, recite some fucking movie speech.
Now you got me thinking. I'm trying to think of other good ones. I haven't had. Yeah, it's tough. There's great ones, but those are the only ones that come to mind quickly.
Oh, wait. Does Taken?
Oh,
Liam Neeson?
yeah, that definitely counts.
Oh my god. That is pretty fucking classic.
That's memorable. Everybody remembers the stupid Taken. Like,
I will find what does he say? Can you recite it?
oh, jeez.
I have a very specific set of skills.
Yeah.
See, like, I can't
I'll tell you, I have no money. I if you want ransom, I can't pay you. But what I do have is a very particular set of skills. If you do not return my daughter or whatever, yeah,
I will find you.
yeah, I will hunt you. I will find you. I will kill you.
That's pretty
I'm
powerful.
like, trying to think of
And
movies
then
that I
it's
can
good
quote
luck.
all of.
I fucking have never seen any of those movies.
You never saw any Taken?
I saw
actually,
a thing on Reddit, and it was like this editor used 10, or editor and writer used 10 different camera angles to capture 5 seconds of footage. And it was Liam Neeson hopping a fence. Literally, it's 10 different camera angles in a row.
Yeah, but that's probably because he was only going to do it once.
Yeah, you can only get Liam Neeson to do that. Hop that fence one time. He's an
I will
old
hop
dude.
the fence. Only once.
Or wolves.
Well, yeah, what were you saying that you had a movie question for us?
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna ask you.
This was just as hard.
Yeah, what's the particularly terrible movie scene you can think of that like sticks out as bothering you in an otherwise decent movie or good movie?
Like from being disturbed or from being a bad scene?
Any of them. What just sticks out your... I mean, I think of it as... When I thought of it, it's because of it being, like, just poor. Like, a shitty scene. But, like... I'm trying to think of a good example. I'll give an example. In The Dark Knight, there's that scene where he's, like, cuts the bullet out of the wall. And, like, and brings it back and, like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this fucking scene?
Man, dude, I fucking rewatched that movie, like, a week ago. And being like, I remember this being a great movie. I watched it, I was like, fuck, this is pretty horrible. Then that scene came up. There's no way that he could have got a fingerprint off of how that worked in that scene.
And yeah, none of it made sense to me.
That's a really bad scene in a movie.
And otherwise, that movie is good, I think. It's just that scene sticks out to me. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? He's shooting the gun and then scanning all the bricks, and somehow he recreates it to getting a thumbprint. I'm like, you just made a big leap. And he did it in a couple, 30 seconds, so people didn't notice. But that was weird.
No sense
You could have
at
written
all.
around that entirely. Like, Just show him cutting it out and then scanning
Yeah,
it.
see,
Why do you have to shoot the gun again?
I love to back those Christopher Nolan films, but the second you're doing a superhero film, you have to do some shit that's just far out there. That just doesn't make sense.
Well, I guess. Is that like a law they tell you?
No,
Warner
well,
Brothers?
man, yeah. Warner Brothers or Disney.
Yeah. Go have some weird ass scene.
There's a lot of really bad scenes in Interstellar.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Yeah, there's...
You know,
I don't like that movie. I'm a Christopher Nolan defender. I love his movies. That movie's got some dumb shit in it.
I like a lot of Christopher Nolan.
You hate Inception, though, which is, like, perplexing to me.
There's a lot of bad scenes in that movie. Like, I mean, I really liked Memento. That movie's phenomenal. That's Christopher Nolan, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Insomnia. I'm down with that movie.
I have
Maybe some
not
Robin
seen
Williams.
that, actually. Isn't that his
It's pretty
first
good.
one?
I don't know that it's his first movie. Robin Williams and Al Pacino. It seems like
It's a
that would.
Stephen King book.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be.
I haven't watched that. I should.
It's a good movie.
Do you like The Prestige?
Prestige is a good movie.
Yeah.
Fucking love that movie.
Yeah, I really like that one. There's some silly shit in that one too, but it's all in all. There's always, I think that like those movies. I guess maybe that's his MO. Like he makes an otherwise spotless film with one scene where you're like, what the fuck? What? Why? Why'd you have to throw that in there?
Scene in The Prestige.
Well, I guess it's. I like the Nikola Tesla part to that whole thing, but there's just some weirdness in that I don't get, and.
Was Andy Serkis Nikola Tesla, or was Andy Serkis Nikola Tesla's like a butler?
No, it's David Bowie is Nikola Tesla in that movie.
Perfect.
I think, right? I'm not crazy on that. David Bowie is Nikola Tesla in The Prestige. Pretty sure.
I never saw that movie.
I'll go with that. I'll go with it.
Prestige is
99%
good.
on that.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla character makes like a random appearance in a magic.
Well, and a very like important plot point to that whole movie,
Yeah.
which I like all of that part, but it's just a weird, comes out of nowhere twist to that thing, I guess. So.
Well, my choice for bad scenes and something I liked was Walking Dead, TV show and comic books.
TV show. Any scene with Rick Grimes?
Every scene with Rick Grimes.
That dude's a terrible actor. Sorry, guys.
But you can't admit, you have to admit that when you watched the first season, you got into that show.
I did. It was the first episode of The Walking Dead is pretty much fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It may be one of the greatest episodes of television ever.
Well, because they had great storyboards to work from in that comic.
And they pretty much hit it beat for beat.
Yeah.
They don't really screw around a lot. The tank ending in that thing fit television so perfectly and fits a short story in general so well that that moment of putting the gun underneath his head and looking up is a fantastically written scene, in my opinion. Like, so good. That whole... And all the visuals, the walking into that city on the horseback, and, like, I don't know why there's such a bad traffic jam on one side.
This awesome first pilot episode led into Coral.
Yeah. His bad pronunciation of Carl all the time.
Coral.
His terrible crying.
Yeah.
That is always the same. His constant, all emotional scenes involve him. Like, you can't see my face, obviously, for the podcast, scrunching his face up and looking down and putting his hand...
And then the comic came along, which I was like, okay, the show's shit, the comic's still cool. I'm fucking issue 120 or whatever. I was like, oh, this is still better. And all of a sudden, he would give me an issue of 2 splash pages in a row and 5 pages with no dialogue, where it's like, you're ripping me off.
Yeah,
I'm only paying $3 for this, but you're fucking ripping me
You're
off.
Dragon Ball Z in me here.
So there's just countless bad scenes in the comic where it's just no dialogue and scenes that aren't captivating.
I feel like I don't want to stop buying them because we all know the only way to make that comic good is Rick has to die. And
That would be the issue to have.
man,
He's
you
still
gotta
alive
fucking
in the goddamn
Yeah.
comics.
you gotta have that issue.
God damn.
Okay, everybody wants that issue. Everyone needs that issue, and man, this conversation gave me I went through a roller coaster.
Is
of
Carl
emotions.
still alive?
You have been quiet over there.
No, man, because Kyle's first talk about how awesome Rick is, and I'm like, man, I went from the scene where you're saying where he had like the shotgun, he was in the tank
pistol,
and put the gun to his mouth. And now thinking of the last comic I read where Rick has no arm, he's old, he's got a huge beard, but he still beat the fuck out of this little kid.
It was tough.
No, but it was like,
I
it was
get it, it's
appropriate,
probably
you know?
really
He's like,
tough, I'm sure.
not a little kid, he was like,
I
fucking,
get
you know,
it,
like
yeah.
a 19-year-old or
Just
something,
poking
right?
fun.
But it was like, Rick has come a long way, like, for me to love him and hate him. Like, he's old and he's a bitch, and his wife died, his kid died, his fucking son's a little bitch. You know, everyone's fucking dying.
Does Carl suck now in the comics?
Carl's a little bitch.
I gave up. I sold my collection a while ago. I think I said
yeah,
in one of the
you did.
previous
Like, the coolest
episodes.
thing that happened to Carl in the last couple of issues is someone tried to beat him with a brick.
I have a Carl coffee mug that I stand behind. When I left...
No, sorry, Kyle. You're talking about a fucking comic book series about the apocalypse because there's zombies everywhere. And the most exciting thing that's happened in the last issue to Carl is that a human being tried to beat him with a brick.
No, he did beat him with a brick pretty good.
But
right now, Eugene just made contact with some dude on the radio, and they're making that kind of a thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because they haven't talked to people before.
Yeah, that sounds bad, man. I don't know. It's too long.
This is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't read the new issue yet. But you probably haven't. You're probably just like waiting for the new episode of the show to come out. But Negan just escaped, and that was kind of like
People watching the show would have no idea what you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think they're just mean Negan.
I don't know. I'm not watching that shit.
But that was
Garbage
kind of
ass brick. Alright, so this is the point where I'm going to bring up mine, and it's a slight, this first thing I'm going to say, small spoiler, literally the opening scene for Batman vs. Superman. So if you don't want to hear it, I guess this is the time I'll say goodbye.
Well, I'd say you'd probably say goodbye right about now anyways, because after this, I think you guys are going to get pretty heavy.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll say some spoilers for Batman vs. Superman from now on, so this is your warning. Spoilers. Don't listen from here on out.
Relieved.
Alright, so my thing, and I
Okay.
honestly think...
Sorry, I have to cut you off. This is spoilers for me too, folks, because I haven't seen it
Do you
yet.
mind?
Well,
No, I don't care, because I'm probably not going to see it in theaters.
Alright. The first scene, or one of the very first scenes in that movie, they're doing the quick, the thing no one needed to fucking see again, origin story for Batman.
They did that.
They do it quick, right?
Oh.
So it's like, they show the gunman in the alley, and the pearls dropping, and that whole thing, as it's also cutting to young Bruce Wayne at the funeral, seemingly, like at the gravesite, running off into the woods because he's upset. He runs off into the woods, and is cutting back and forth, running. We all know what's going to happen. Oh, floor gives out, falls into a well, right? It's the first, like, the Nightmare of the Bats thing, or whatever.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the Batman
thing-
Year One
the-
take.
the- Yeah,
right.
the Batman in the well with the bats. All happening exactly how you think it's going to happen. Except for this time, the bats come out. It's not one big, giant bat flying at him or whatever it's been done in the other thing. All the bats flying out. This time, young Bruce Wayne, literally, Jesus floats out of the well because of the seemingly the momentum of the bats.
And he
Carry
said that was
him.
a dream.
Alright, I'll get to that. They try to save it with a stupid
Okay,
fucking...
Keep going.
Jesus floats, puts his arm
Bats
out
and him
like
are
a
both just
savior of the bats. They carry him up out of the well.
savior of the bat.
Like this makes, and I get, yeah, they do, like Greg said, eventually save it with a line of dialogue where he says, "In my dreams, they carry me up every time," or something like that.
So we're supposed to believe that was a
That's
dream?
that's his, like, yeah, and the bat metaphor of the bat saved Batman. Like, his fear is
Well,
his savior.
that is the takeoff of Frank Miller's Batman Year One.
So
The float out of the well?
No,
No.
but the metaphorical bat,
No,
because he does see this big massive bat
No,
that
yeah.
we're supposed to take as a metaphor.
Well, I get that part, but I just, literally, you gotta see this shit. It is how they open up with Batman floating out of a goddamn well. Like, you gotta see the pose and everything, too. Like, it's so
Very
coming
Jesus
to Christ
Christ
moment. And it's just, like, this is how you open this thing. Greg and I both looked at each other this way. I knew you thought the same thing, where it's like, this is some terrible fucking shit. If you hadn't taken me to that movie, I probably would have walked out right then. And I'm talking about 3 minutes in. I thought about it then.
Is
You
that bad?
got my ticket.
So another thing that I think is kind
was-
of good, and I was saying
it
this
was
to you
terrible.
earlier, was like, with the exception of the Dream Nightmare, that was kind of an origin story for Bruce Wayne. There is no origin stories, right? So even you come in like you understand that Lex Luthor has a history with Superman, and
in the movie, you mean?
In the movie, yeah. And that Batman has lost a Robin, and
He's lost a Robin at this point?
yeah, well, we don't
It's
know.
in the trailers. You see
We don't know exactly how or that he died even, but there's a Robin suit covered in like Joker spray paint.
It says, the joke's on you.
Well,
And
which
then-
is very weird because obviously we know that Robin was killed, and I'm doing quotations with my fingers right now.
Oh, he killed Jason Todd.
He was killed by the Joker. Or Tim Drake was killed by the Joker.
No, Jason Todd.
Or Jason Todd, I'm sorry, but if Grayson was the first one, does that?
So we
Are they
don't-
assuming there's a Nightwing in this universe?
We don't really
We
know.
don't know. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
all
There's
left up
nothing,
to your
but then Bruce Wayne keeps getting mail sent to him that says, "You let your family die."
Yeah, he gets that stuff that seemingly it comes
Like
from
Lex-
a character in the movie
like Lex
that also
tells him-
seems like Lex maybe.
That would be the
that.
perfect thing
He
to say
knows
to
about
Batman.
Like, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's seemingly like if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, "Why would you think that this child was responsible for his parents dying?" But I think it was a
Are you
reference
talking
to
about death in the family?
yeah, like Batman.
See, now I like the idea of that's the ultimate fucking insult. Could you imagine Batman or Bruce Wayne even, this fucking billionaire
no,
whose
but
parents died while he was a child there, send them a letter saying, you let your parents die, or you let your family die.
Yeah.
That's a fucking low blow.
That is, but yeah, we're to understand
Either way, it's a
that
low blow.
Lex knows that
It's eventually revealed
that
he
Lex knows that
much.
Superman is Clark Kent and that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and he's like setting up them fighting. Like he instigates their fight.
Okay.
That is the big reveal at the end. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's all organized by Lex.
But it's
So who
I,
dies? Batman or Superman?
Superman.
I like the fact that
Superman dies?
like
Yeah.
Paul.
but coming back around, right?
Heavy
Like,
air
so
quotes.
suggesting that like there's like all this history going on. It's not an origin story. It's to my understanding because Batman suffers from a lot of nightmares, like waking nightmares and like hallucinations. That he's fucking. This is like PTSD from fucking the Scarecrow serum. Like.
I don't think that
He's having hallucinations. That theory gets kind of skewed when he apparently seems to have some vision.
I think the Flash is coming back in time to show him things. It's like they show what seems to me to be the Flash
Well,
coming
yeah.
through a portal that is somehow Batman is the only one that's able to
It's
see
fucked.
him.
So this is
A lot of
very
dream
much the
sequences.
prequel to the next Justice League.
Oh yeah, well, that's how it ends.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
So
That's-
spoiler, like the line.
we don't need to say it anymore. We're already.
Yeah, no. But the tagline that I read, which was the spoiler of spoiler sentence, like that was the whole thing. I'm like, but it was the death of Superman, and Superman dies at the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
that's what this movie
Oh, is that actually
It's-
how it ends? Like
Well, it
they
is,
try to
yeah.
trick you into thinking Superman's dead?
Well, and yeah, but the
Well,
very end of the
you
movie,
have to
right?
Dumbly
It's,
just take it away.
it's a fucking heartbeat.
Well, it's the
It's like
he's
a
buried in the ground, and Lois has put the handful of gravel over his grave,
okay.
and it's that raising up from the grave, like the handfuls, like
but
that Superman like posing like
Why
this.
would they
and-
even bother trying
Why
to tell
do it now?
Superman was dead?
Yeah,
well, because like I
You
don't know.
can't kill Superman.
and you
No
can't
one-
even do
No,
it.
but coming back around.
No one who wants to make $1 would ever kill Superman.
come back around. Oh, you're right about that. But Doomsday kills Superman in the comics, and Doomsday kills
Not
him.
actually.
But Doomsday kills him in
Exactly.
the movie, and then in the comics, his heartbeat drops to 1 beat every 27 days or something, and it takes like one of his robots notices that there's a pattern.
Like, see, that's what kills me with all these superhero movies is the best superhero movie of all time is when they actually sacrifice their life to save the day. Like, my favorite hero story to this day is Braveheart, William Wallace, where this man this hero sacrificed his life for freedom. They can't do a sequel to that. He's dead.
Yeah,
Where, if they were to do the issue where Superman actually got killed, they've done the death of Superman, but the
Yeah.
one where they actually killed him, it would be the best comic of all time.
yeah, it'd be great. And it's the same with the movies. It's the same. Why I hate fucking the last Dark Knight movie is they build that up at the
And
end
they
of that.
fucked that
To
up
manage
so
it
bad.
to be like, despite some other fuck ups in that movie that I will say, there's a bunch of bad parts in that movie. I don't really like it. But if you had killed Batman, then if you just had him fly off and he's fucking dead, he doesn't show Alfred at the end where he's looking across the table and he's not there. There's no Batman.
And, like,
there.
they knew that was going to be the end of that series. There's going to be no
Yeah,
continuity
exactly.
after
Just
that.
fuck it. Just he killed him, and then have also the end of the thing
Well,
where
for
it
the
says
kids,
Robin
though,
will be there.
Sure.
It wasn't a rated R movie.
I don't give a
They
shit.
don't want
It's
the,
not-
they don't want
show-
the kids seeing the Batman die.
But then you still show the end where you say, instead of, "Oh, I like your real name, Robin," you say, "I like your real name. I like your real name, Dick Grayson." Let the nerds enjoy that part, not the Robin part. And you have him rising out of the water like he does there.
The fact
and
that his name is Robin.
that's dumb. And then you have the build up as it's Robin, and that would have been good. That would have been a great ending.
Yeah, hey Dick.
Yeah,
That's all
like,
they needed to do.
I like your real name, like Richard Grayson.
Hey Dick, I like your name.
No,
Dick.
that would have been hilarious. You like my real name, Dick? End the movie. Like,
Yeah.
That would have been the best.
Joseph
fucking
Gordon-Levitt
ending
has like
ever.
this dirty look on his face, like Dick.
But yeah, that's another movie scene that I hate, and
Man,
that
but-
movie in general is.
Okay.
Alright, so Kyle's been cutting up this movie. Let's hear your take on this.
Man,
with some
the bat
spoilers.
Oh, I got some more.
The bat
jokes.
suit is
Jeez.
great. The fucking like the armored Iron Man fucking bat suit.
So Ben Affleck looks good as Batman.
Ben
Oh
Affleck,
yeah,
man,
like
is the
everything
best
about
part.
the visuals of this movie. They nail all the costume design. They
Oh
nail
my
the
God.
looks. They
Yeah.
nail the movement for most of the characters. They all.
For the
do
sake of the
that.
podcast, Greg does have an erection right now.
Man, it's like it's hard, dude. Okay, speaking of hard, the Batmobile is like indestructible, and one of the
Yeah,
best
it's cool,
scenes
that.
is it's like coming on a corner. Superman is just standing there. The Batmobile fucking like
Did they kind of base the Batmobile off the new game?
yeah, a little.
Like it's like a tank,
No,
yeah,
I think.
almost.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all Tumblr like looking like
The
the
wheels
Dark Knight
turn.
ones.
yeah,
Like it
like a
looks
tank.
like the Dark Knights.
but it fucking like side
Batman
swipes
Begins.
and just goes into Superman and, like crashes. Like the Batmobile is indestructible. Fucking just taps Superman and just like crumples.
yeah,
It was a good scene.
and then he tears the doors off. That's all in the trailer.
Very similar to the Daredevil scene with Colossus or whatever. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Deadpool.
Deadpool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all that part looks cool. Visual wise, this movie's got almost everything nailed.
Wonder Woman is great.
Yeah,
She
she
busts
looks
out the
cool.
lasso, I think. She uses the
Yeah,
braces.
she does for the very end when they need
Does
to
she
hold
use it
them
for
down.
truth or just
No,
to
she-
fight?
No,
She
just to
uses it for-
hold down.
for justice.
Yeah.
For justice.
What's
Yeah.
his?
So I gotta ask: are you guys actually excited about a Justice League trilogy coming out?
Oh yeah, I'm excited for it. I
If-
thought this was good.
If Zack Snyder is the director, it will be the same hot garbage that this movie currently is.
So you're not excited?
I am excited if they kick him off the movies.
But who would replace him that would do it
I
better?
don't really care. Anybody else? He's ruining the
No,
movies.
I feel like
I don't know if it's actually him that's ruining it. They have to get rid of somebody that was involved in this movie.
I feel like that
ruined
this
it.
movie was like when there, and I know it sounds weird, but when there are 5 movies out, this movie is going to make way more sense, and it's going to be really good to start what they're doing.
But it's still, there's so much
And
structurally wrong with this movie.
no,
man.
I like it because they're not sugarcoating it, and it's if you don't already care about these characters, then we're not interested in getting you to be. That's how I felt.
they do that. They're
You know,
not
it's
trying
like
to
if
make
you're not
you-
already
Well,
interested-
man, these characters are fucking what?
Exactly.
Almost 80 years old.
You know, it's like, and I think that's kind of neat. It's like, fuck it. You
And
know,
we've seen the movies pretty
yeah,
much
like,
wrong.
you know, it's,
if you're gonna say Batman movie, you know what the fuck's
yeah,
going
like,
on.
you know, and I kind of got that. Like, they weren't sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
But
it's not
here-
for noobs.
Here's where the problem lies. You're right. They do so much in that movie where it's like, we're not going to explain it as an origin. A lot has happened in this world, and you'll figure it out eventually. But they still take the time to make this it's a 2.5 hour long movie in this cut. They still take the time to do the stupid Batman origin at the start. You don't need to do the whole idea is what Greg is saying. You don't need the time to do the 2-time cut to that Lex Luthor file of looking at the Justice League. Which is the worst part of that movie.
Oh,
other
yeah,
than
that
everything.
seeing the names.
Literally, okay, so here's the thing.
So what is the official Justice League now?
Oh yeah, so
Did
they show
explain that?
they show that Lex has a file that has on metahumans, right?
Which
so
is- that's
there's
cool, like, they
there's
coined that.
Batman looking at those, and he mouses over Wonder Woman's and sees it's a picture from like World War I or
With
whatever.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, well there's that. Look at that, you get that. Then he mouses over, you see the Flash logo and Cyborg's logo and Wonder Woman's logo and Aquaman.
Which also
Right?
kind of means
And
that
then they-
Lex gave them all their
15 or
trademark
20 minutes
logos.
later, do it again, but someone opens all the files this time. Unnecessary entirely for these to be 2 separate fucking scenes. They're time-consuming scenes.
What?
And where they mouse over this time, and I will say this is even it's as dumb as the first one. They mouse over fucking Aquaman. Okay, they go to Flash, right? And you're like,
Is
it's
it
the-
the same? Did it show the same actor's face in the show?
Yeah.
Oh,
did?
no, not from the Flash show. No. It's a
Oh,
different kid.
no.
So they show a different Flash. It's a kid getting a soda at the back of a convenience store, and he notices a robbery, and there's like a quick blur.
So it's a kid?
And yeah, or a young looking guy.
Oh, okay.
And he saves the robber. And you're like, okay, cool. Then it's like, I forget the next one they show. It's like Wonder Woman. Oh, it's the picture again. Because we needed to see that another time. For some fucking stupid reason. Like we don't remember 15 minutes ago. Now the next one is Aquaman. And you're like, oh, it's going to be cool. And it shows like an underwater submarine looking
They could have
or
got
something.
James Cameron was like a special director for this.
Yeah. And it's like you see eyes in a cave, like underwater. And you're
No, it
like,
was like in a boat wreck.
Yeah, or in a shipwreck, yeah, and you see the eyes, and you're like, oh, that's cool, this is going to be it, it's going to cut here. That's what, we can all put that together, it's Aquaman. No, then it, like, slowly has Jason Momoa, the guy who's going to play...
Is that Khal Drogo?
Khal Drogo.
So they used him.
Yeah, and they slowly just Instagram mugs the camera as he comes out.
Yeah,
and with his hair
that was
flowing all
weird.
pretty, and he
It was
literally...
like a mermaid.
fucking stares at the goddamn camera for like a solid
Does
5 second hold.
Does he do duck face?
Pretty much, he's just like posing, and then it's like the trident comes out and he smashes a different camera, or that camera, and then another camera catches him like quickly running, like swimming away, I guess, really fast.
So some viral footage.
It is fucking ridiculous.
It was a
Whatever
weird
is. It
scene.
looks
Like
ridiculous.
basically, it was like he saw the camera and he was just like, "Should I
get an
destroy
Instagram
the camera? I mean, like they already have footage of me now. Destroying the camera is really kind of like." Just kind of pissing them off. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fuck the camera up. And
Yeah,
just like,
it's
oh, there's another camera.
And it's just like, oh, hey, everybody, look how pretty Jason
It was like a glory
Momoa is.
shot.
It's so bad. And then they show Cyborg, which is like
Kinda
the longest one.
Who's Cyborg?
That was cool. I feel like
Is he
that
part
was
of the Justice League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I don't like this.
No, because it was way back when they first.
Should I know who he is?
No.
Well,
When
maybe,
they first
if you're
introduced
into DC,
Cyborg,
yeah.
man, it was like the 50s or 60s, and the character didn't make a lot of sense. Because he was like, what's the word? Where he can like sync up, like he's a telepath, but with machines.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, back in the day, it wasn't like all like, okay, cool, he could like become like or take over a plane or something, right? But now it's like he's connected to the internet or he's connected to all machines. So he's he gets into a car accident or an accident or something, and his dad soups him up, like brings him back from the dead, and he's mostly machine, like RoboCop. He's basically like RoboCop, but he's as strong as Superman and he's as smart as fucking anyone else. He can, what's the fucking word called? Like a telepath, like a technopath or something like that.
Technopath?
He's like R2-D2, where it's just like fucking syncs up with every
He's
computer.
like part of the singularity, if that existed or something.
Yeah, like he's fucking really weird character. And now that where we are in life, his character, this is the coolest fucking time to introduce a character like Cyborg.
Yeah, I think he could be neat. I really do think he could be a cool character. But they do a weird, long scene for his introduction. That
Well,
it's
again, like,
hard
a lot
to
of
tell
people
what's
don't
going
know.
on. Like, I could barely hear the guy, because it's supposed to be like this shitty cam thing.
So, guys, what's the roster for the new Justice League?
It'll be Aquaman, assuming Superman's not dead, which he's not going to be fucking dead. Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg.
Okay. So here's
No Martian Manhunter?
They don't show any
no Martian Manhunter and no Green Lantern yet.
No
But-
Green Lantern?
No.
But, man, there's a
Weird.
scene in that movie, right, where Lois goes and she has that bullet. And they kind of make a big deal out of this bullet that's made out of, like, Lex.
Yeah, another subplot that they need to fucking
But-
have in this thing.
Lois goes and gives the bullet to that black colonel or general or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
I can't remember his name, but he's in Man of Steel.
He is in Man of Steel, but when he goes to say it, he comments, Major Ferris or General Ferris is right outside, and Lois says, I don't care. Now, I don't know that they don't actually show or connect a name to the face of Major Ferris or probably Major, I don't know, General Ferris. But that Ferris Corp or Ferris Company is the people that make the planes that Hal Jordan is piloting.
Okay.
So the fact that they mentioned Ferris and the company could be a suggestion that they're going to introduce the Green Lantern.
They're definitely going to do it.
The fact that they didn't show us a name to a face at the same time, though my brother was saying he waited and watched the credits and looked, and that Major Ferris was a female name, and that in the movie there was just some females with some ranks that didn't really say anything. So, I mean, we could have just missed it because, they don't...
There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah, they don't directly say, Major Ferris, say your lines. You know what I mean? You don't. So, the Green Lantern might be a thing.
Well, it'll definitely be a thing. Like, they're going to bring it up.
Fucking Tyrese Gibson will shut the fuck up.
About wanting to be...
no, not even
John
wanting
Smith
now. Now he's being like, oh yeah, I know, I've talked to Warner Brothers. But that doesn't mean shit. All it could be is that he's like, yo, Ross, please.
Yeah, he's just looking for an extra 20,000 followers on
Yeah,
Twitter.
like, that doesn't mean shit. It's not until there's, like, proper confirmation.
Alright, so you guys have spoiled enough of this already. You guys might as well tell me how this movie goes. So, in the end of it, Superman and Batman actually fight?
Yeah.
What
this
happened?
is... Okay.
This is what I want to say.
What
The
happened?
redeeming quality of this whole film is that it has a great Dark Knight Returns nod of that fight happened. And I like the whole build-up. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
man.
not the same beat for beat. Obviously, you don't have Green Arrow coming out of
Does
nowhere.
Batman take a heart attack?
No. So, if you don't mind, I'll take...
go on.
describe it. So, the build-up is Lex is obviously the catalyst for these two fighting. He's given Batman all the things where Batman really thinks that Superman is a threat, and then he has to take him out. And on the other side, what he does is takes Superman's mother and captured her, right? And gives, he has to, meet him. He meets him on a rooftop and thinks he's there to save Lois, but it's actually, Lex reveals, oh, I have your mom. And, you're going to go do my bidding. Now, you're going to go kill the Bat of Gotham.
That's the exact same plan I have for your mom.
Man,
Yeah,
what's kind of neat about that is Lex just assumes that he doesn't even need to tell Superman. If he just gets Lois and pushes her off a building,
He'll show up.
He'll show up. He is so convinced that Lois will not die that he pushes her off a building.
Which I do.
With no way of letting Superman know he did it.
Which
He doesn't
reminds
even
Yeah,
try.
Joker does the same thing to Batman in Dark
Well,
Knight
yeah,
Returns.
yeah, exactly. He'll show up to save the. And I'll get to. There's a big problem with this whole movie that I haven't brought up yet, but I'll describe the whole idea just quick. So he does that. Now he's got to go. He's like, you have an hour to go bring me, either die trying or bring me the head of Batman. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go off. He flies off, tells Lois, I gotta go do this, and he goes to fight Batman. I gotta either convince him to help me or kill him. And the fight happens. Obviously, Superman comes in. Batman's having none of listening to him. And he has all this big, elaborate, awesome fight scene planned to beat him up.
Sorry, I just wanted they could have made the point that Superman was trying to get Batman to reason with Batman. I feel like that wasn't touched up enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, but go on, because
So he gets there. Batman's not gonna he's not listening to him. Obviously, first few punches, Superman kicks the crap out of him real quick, and I think one of the important lines in it is. For the whole, we're talking about whether or not Batman would beat Superman. He tells him, if I wanted you to be, you'd be dead already. And, that's the moment of, Batman kicking into Batman action. Fucking hits him with the kryptonite gas grenade that he's
So he's got a lot of tools.
Oh,
yeah, and then, all of a sudden now Superman's weak. And he comes up and it's he's in his armored suit. Gives him a solid punch and you can see, the fear in Superman for the first time.
it's beautiful.
and
It's good acting.
He takes a fucking shot, and you can tell, no, I'm in trouble. And the licks start happening. Batman lays into him, kicks him through a building, beats the absolute shit out of him. Superman eventually kind of recovers from that first, grenade, and that first beating comes back. Batman hits him with the second one, and now really starts beating him, beating him to the point where he's gonna kill him. It's over. And he pulls out this big kryptonite spear he's built.
Which I kind of want to pause for a sec. The idea that he made a spear.
That's not Batman.
No, but what I love about
it is in this movie, and
because
it fits.
Why did he intend on 300?
No, but they
Dude, the
no,
300
but
on Superman's
he intended
ass?
on everything he's got going on.
They
You
keep-
are no god.
They keep,
Fucking-
exactly. They keep playing up Superman like he's a fucking savior or messiah, and Jesus gets stabbed by a spear. Has a spear of destiny or whatever.
Yeah.
The fight.
That's already been done, man.
Yeah, but I don't.
I get it, but in this part, I won't rag on it. I like it in this part.
The final fight
Now,
was good.
we joke that later on Aquaman's gonna use it in some way. He's gonna fucking have
Oh, you haven't finished. You haven't told me how he kills him.
So anyway, he's there, fucking literal boot on his throat, and I'll say I was upset that I wanted it to be the Dark Knight Returns. I just wanted him to say that it was me. I want you to know it was me with my hands around your throat in this moment. Remember me for this kind of thing. A man is going to kill you. And, like, he cuts him on the cheek, which I like. Gives him, like, Superman's first scar.
I'll make you bleed your own blood.
Yeah, he's like, he told him he would bleed, and he makes him bleed. Yeah, like, and so he does that, and he's about to kill him, and Superman coughs out in his, like, dying breath, like, Martha. I'm trying to save Martha. And this is some cheeseball, heavy-handed shit here, where Batman hesitates, because Batman's mom's name's Martha. Oh, God. Martha. I have a chance to save a Martha. All Marthas are equal to me in my mind. Like,
no, that's
not
it's a bad scene, but Batman just starts screaming, like, who's Martha?
Yeah, who's
Why
Martha?
did you say Martha?
Who's Martha?
He doesn't say...
Does he do the Christian Bale?
Yeah, well, not the... No, he's got a vocal modulator
That is fucking
that
lame.
makes it kind of
No,
projected.
just on the armor suit, I thought.
Well, I think... No, it's in the regular one, too, where it's, like, kind of a projected voice.
It's so gay.
Anyway.
Though, that on a typical day, Batman's hiding in the dark. And I bet you that, like, the average mugging can be prevented by let go of the purse.
And they don't do a great job of showing. This is definitely, like, and for comic book fans, look at it. This is a out of control, fucked up old Batman.
Oh,
this
man.
is a Dark Knight Returns
Batman had white, like, he had the white sideburns.
and he's bitter. He says a line earlier, and I like it, where, like, Alfred's trying to tell him that Superman isn't his enemy, and he's saying that we know enough now, and this isn't word for word. We know enough now that there are no, like, everyone's an enemy, basically saying they're all good men turn bad. We've seen it happen. Like, and if they are good, they don't stay good for long.
And in, like, during this whole speeching shit, Bruce Wayne is, like, waking up in, like,
oh no, isn't the line you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain?
That's the Dark Knight one, yeah. That's pretty much the same sentiment. But this one kind of maybe is a little bit more, I think, referencing the Jason Todd type thing. But anyway, so he gives him the thing. Superman, eventually Lois Lane comes in and tells him, Martha's his mother. It's his mother. And he's like, I got a chance to save a mom today. And they're friends. Like, bang!
Yeah,
snapping the fingers, they're best friends.
I can only imagine.
So Superman doesn't die from Batman?
No. Now the other big reveal happens. He doesn't kill Batman. During this whole scene, Lex is charging up the crashed alien site from Man of Steel, where he's in there somehow earlier in a different scene. He's creating Doomsday. Batman tells Superman that he's needed at the ship. Batman will go save Martha. Batman takes off in the Batplane and does that. Superman takes off towards the ship. He just gets there in time for for Lex to be there, and reveals that it's on. Doomsday is born, and Superman is off, and Batman's off and aggressively beats the fuck out of some people. And takes 2 shots to the head from a gun and survives it.
Yeah, Batman's a thug.
Yeah, he takes a couple.
He's like 50 Cent.
I feel like
no trouble.
Man, yeah, Batman's like banging like whores. He's drinking a shit ton of booze.
Yeah, this is alcohol, like drunk Batman.
To go back to what you're saying about like the time frame of where Batman is. But one of the best scenes, man, like while Batman's going all fucking thug, is in the games, Batman gets the bat claw. Where you can pull an enemy at you. Yeah, Batman's bat claw in this is the grappling gun that he shoots through someone's shoulder. Like, it goes through the guy's...
Scorpion? Get over here!
Yeah. He's kind of close to... And this isn't the only scene in the movie where he straight up kills people in other dream sequence type moments.
Yeah, so in the commercial...
This is Batman with a gun. Not necessarily good...
In the trailer, they show Batman, like, shooting guns and killing people.
That was a dream sequence?
That was a nightmare sequence, which I think is some crane serum.
Well, that's some hype going on.
Yeah,
that's
they're building towards some other shit.
But the fact that he fucking takes, like, the grappling gun and just... right through some dude's shoulder, pulls him in. It's like, that's what would happen if he tried to battle someone.
See, what I find really weird about this take on it is that Superman is relatively young compared to Batman, is he not?
Well, yeah, but he's
okay.
Superman's mom's still alive, right?
No, but she's old as fuck.
But that doesn't matter.
But that's a suggestion that Clark...
Yeah, but would you not say that Bruce is relatively the same age as...
No, but that's what I'm saying, is that Clark would have...
He even has a line...
And all the tales, like, especially The Dark Knight Returns...
He has a line in this saying that Batman at this point is older than his father ever was. He literally says that. I'm older now than my father ever lived to be. Like, for Batman.
I think it's still good, though. I like it. I like this universe that they've set up. Again,
Well,
you
no,
guys
here,
aren't watching
I'll-
all the TV shows and stuff, but they are rocking the multiverse hard.
We'll
Yeah, I
let it
know.
go long. It's we'll say heavy spoilers. But
Um,
anyway,
like,
I'll
they're
finish
ro-
up.
They're rocking the multiverse. Sorry, so like
Okay.
this is like they already have 2 Flashes. This is just one universe of the Justice League. You know, they acknowledge the multiverse, but yeah, sorry, I don't know. I'll let you keep going.
So then it's Doomsday set loose. They do a bunch of heavy-handed things where the fight, comes to the air, and they go like, "Well, thankfully it's nighttime, and there's no one's in downtown, so they're like the death toll won't be."
So yeah, they
sad."
don't. With the next Justice League movie, won't have to be the first half of this movie.
Yeah, where they're always describing how everyone died in the first movie of Man of Steel or whatever. Anyway, they do that. They cut to Wonder Woman being on a plane, seeing this all happening, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the news. And you're like, oh, then you see her like leaves the plane. She's coming to the fight. Batman comes back, joins the fight after saving Martha, and like now here's the big like Doomsday versus Wonder Woman, Batman and Superman. Also, really good action scene of Doomsday just basically being indestructible. They hit him with a big thing where Superman throws them up into space, and they hit them both with a nuke.
That was pretty cool.
And like they show the like, oh, they're dead. Oh, everyone thinks they're, and they both fall back to the ground. Only one of them has a heartbeat, or one falls back to the ground, the other one doesn't. It's Doomsday, but he's still alive. He's more powerful now because of the nuke.
That was I thought was pretty cool.
Superman
They did the
has-
heartbeat thing twice.
Well, sorry, it's not the heartbeat, but it's like they're tracking them. Superman's still in
Okay.
space. The sunlight hits him, and he turns that like crippled nuclear shitty gray to like checks up Superman, flies back down. The big fight happens. Lois finds the spear from, I don't know how to describe the whole thing, but anyway, gives it back to Superman even though it kills him to touch it. He flies at Doomsday, stabs him in the heart. It's this like tight moment of like, oh, like Doomsday stabs him.
Because he's
Superman's
vulnerable from having
dying.
the spear.
Yeah, like, so he's stabbed in the heart, Doomsday stabbed in the heart, and they both die. That's like the big thing. And then they bury him and have this heavy-handed moment of fucking Superman's dead, and then the fucking, like we described earlier, he's not dead. Ever.
He's not dead. Well, what I got out of this episode, guys, is that Indiana Jones is better than James Bond.
Yep.
Charizard is way better than Drogon.
Yep.
And I don't really want to see Batman versus Superman.
Well, that's my description of the whole thing. Greg's, I'm sure, would have been way more heavy, like, into the cool parts that Greg was. Which might have made you hate it more. Who knows?
It might have.
But I will want to say that their biggest folly to me, that I think, as cool as Batman is in this movie, is that to me, Batman is the comic he started in. Detective Comics. And at no point in time is he a fucking detective in this thing. Not even close. If we talk about that shitty, stupid brick thing in Dark Knight, at least that was some detective work. He is an idiot in this fucking thing. He never sees anything coming.
Batman is in this, and the fact that they keep saying like they're doing a Justice League movie, which is going to be in the future, like a progression in this story arc. Yet they're going to do a Ben Affleck Batman movie, would suggest that maybe the Batman movie is going to be a younger Batman where he doesn't have all of this anger, aggression. He's not having all this bulletproof fucking suit. Like, he literally takes a couple rounds to the back of the head like a champ. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see some, like, Detective Batman. Because you're right. My classic Batman
is not in this.
Is the gray and blue.
Yeah. And
fucking, you got some tears in his suit and you see
he's
some
predicting
blood.
everything. Because
He's like a fucking soothsayer, man.
And this one, the greatest detective is not Batman. It's Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Which, man, okay, I know we're getting long on this. But Lex was, because Kyle and I argued what our favorite Lex was. And this was both of it, man, where it was in public, he was eccentric billionaire.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. But in private, the guy was a fucking genius who could hack a Kryptonian ship and build Doomsday. So, I mean, he wasn't stupid. He had the Bruce Wayne, like, Batman foreshadowing of orchestrating his only two threats into killing each other. And if that didn't work, he had a threat that would... he had foresight and planning. It was the perfect Lex. I
won't say it's the perfect Lex because the execution isn't all there, just like the rest of this movie. But it's definitely a start.
My only questioning, which I guess they never really clarified, because the two classic images of Lex, and the fact that they don't clarify, I guess now that it is perfect, is Lex originally had red long hair, and then somehow Lex became bald. And there's no argument because that's like the two classic images of Lex Luthor. And in this, Lex just goes to jail and decides to shave his head.
Well, they shave his head.
Or they shave his head,
yeah.
and he's just like, yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, I don't know. Do you guys want to call it there? We'll say we've heavily spoiled that as it is. And is there anything else you want to say,
Yeah,
Greg?
spoiler.
It's just
Fucking Wonder Woman. My God. Oh, she was lovely.
Yeah, you said.
I do like her in it. The fight scenes with her are really cool. She's
beautiful.
I'm interested to see that movie.
I'm interested to see her movie.
But other than that, yeah, I don't know. I would give it I'd give it a D because I can't fail it because the effort's there. You know, like it's. I still had fun, but all of it seemingly, and I know you love Zack Snyder, Greg, but all of it seems to fall to his hand just fucking that movie up. Or whoever wrote it or decided it to be the pacing, but it should be on the director to figure that shit out. It's a fucking botched job in that case.
I don't know that it was a botched job. You know, I'll give it an 8. Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I hate you guys.
That's a good one. Alright. Well, this was episode 10 of 2 vs. 3. If you've listened this long, thanks for listening to us rabble about Batman vs. Superman. And we obviously appreciate you listening to that far into us doing it. Sorry for spoiling it if you hadn't heard it. Listen to us every Monday, as of right now anyway, Monday. Follow us on Twitter at 2vs3. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/2vs3. And check out bmoviesandebooks.com and their other fantastic podcasts. Anything else?
Yeah, nothing other than that. Follow everyone else on the B&E podcast, Long Box Small Talk, B&E, and Toxic City.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be getting some new shows soon that'll hopefully be fun to tag along with. Thanks for listening, guys. My name's Cody.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Greg.
Have a good night.
The podcast you just heard is part of the B&E Network, brought to you by bmoviesandebooks.com.